Hello, beautiful soul. My name is Mara. I'm a psychic, intuitive tarot and oracle reader, and today I welcome you to the 9th class within my tarot course. Today we are doing a deep dive into the Chariot card, so grab your notebooks if you're taking notes, grab your Chariot card, and let's get started. This archetype is all about overcoming adversities, standing your ground, and rising above. You can find this archetype literally all over the place throughout history. It's in different cultures and mythology, making it a widely accepted and understood archetype. The Chariot is very recognizable because most humans have an encounter or experience with it from a young age. This archetype can be felt through moments of achievement and victory, overcoming self-sabotage, and choosing courage over fear. It can also be felt in moments of conflict and war. The Chariot, at its most basic level, is a vessel or tool used for battle and victory. It allows you to move about freely and quickly, giving you the upper hand in a fight. The Chariot, on a softer level, can be extremely vulnerable. This is because when you're channeling a moment of courage and determination, you're actually opening yourself up to vulnerability by facing the unknown. This vulnerability is a powerful and useful tool in the triumph over your opponents or obstacles. With the assistance of this archetype, you can learn how to use your vulnerability to your advantage. Overall, the Chariot is strong, effective, and flexible. It powers through obstacles and leaves behind a trail of people who become inspired and empowered to do the same. We all have a Chariot within us, and it's just a matter of awakening it. Here in the Visconti Sforza, we see the Empress being pulled in a chariot by two Pegasus. In the Marseille, we see the more widely used depiction of this card, with it being a man facing forward under a canopy attached to a chariot being pulled by two horses. In the Oswald Wirth Tarot, we see a canopy decorated in stars attached to the chariot with carvings of a winged sun and yoni and lingam symbols. The figure in the chariot is of royal status, wearing a crown with stars and holding a scepter. Pulling the chariot are two sphinxes, one white and one black. In the Rider-Waite-Smith depiction, we see a man in armor holding a scepter. He has a laurel wreath with stars attached, and his belt and apron are both covered in various occult symbols. He has moon-shaped epaulets and a white square on the center of his chest plate. The man is standing in a chariot with carvings of a winged sun as well as a yoni and lingam. Sitting in front of the chariot, we see two sphinx, one black and one white. And in the background there is a city of stone buildings, as well as a body of water and a line of trees. Delaunay describes the card as Chariot of War, Crimes of the Iron Age. Levy describes the card as the Hebrew letter Zion, the cubic chariot, weapon, sword, cherubic sword of fire, the sacred septenary, triumph, royalty, and priesthood. Mathers describes it as the chariot, triumph, victory, overcoming obstacles. The Golden Dawn describes it as child of the power of the waters, lord of the triumph of light, the chariot, triumph, victory, health, success, though sometimes not enduring. And Waite describes the card as the chariot, providence, war, triumph, presumption, and vengeance. Number 7 is all about wisdom, spirituality, and truth. This number represents our thoughts and the way that we move through the world. It's an incredibly deep number, meaning that superficiality does not sit well within the number 7's energy. It's insightful, mystical, and adventurous. And there's a sense of privacy or isolation that comes with this number, usually centered around the pursuit of inner knowledge and truth. As discussed in previous lessons, the background of each card is significant. In the Chariot, we see a yellow background. This is to symbolize hopefulness, happiness, intellect, and confidence. The man is described by Waite as an erect and princely figure. This and many other symbols within the card let us know that he has status. He is a prince and a master. In Plato's allegory of Phaedrus, he writes about the charioteer and his black and white winged horses, which represent immortality and mortality. The charioteer represents the soul, and so it is his job to rein in the horses on their journey to the ridge of heaven. Waite says that the charioteer is, above all things, conquest in the mind. A scepter is a long-standing symbol of power, authority, and sovereignty. Here it is to let us know of the charioteer's status. He is in control and knowledgeable about what he is investing his time into. A laurel wreath suggests that the man has been victorious before, that he has a status of power and authority. An 8-pointed star is a symbol widely used across different cultures, and in this card it is likely to symbolize his connection to the cosmos and the divine. In Judeo-Christian traditions, it would represent superabundance. Within pagan traditions, it could represent the traditional 8 divisions of the Wheel of the Year. These moon-shaped epaulets are described by weight to be Urim and Thummim, an oracular device mentioned in the Book of Samuel. They were supposedly carried within the high priest breastplate and were used to arbitrate with God on behalf of mankind. This may suggest that the charioteer uses prayer or conversation with spirit to assist him on his journey. Both the charioteer's chestplate and the crown on Lady Justice's head have a square symbol. There is no primary source material to suggest that they are the same thing or that they have the same meaning, but many links have been made between the two. It is likely a design that represents a jewel being placed on the crown or breastplate, which is a typical biblical configuration. It is most commonly referred to as the priestly breastplate, or the breastplate of judgment. This is especially true when associated with Urim and Thummim in the use for divination. The belt and apron are adorned with various glyphs and symbols. These symbols are known as geomantic characters, and they are used in a form of divination called geomancy. Geomancy was taken into the Golden Dawn through an occultist by the name Agrippa. The symbols appear to be incomplete or do not follow any specific order. This reminds us that Pamela, the artist of the deck, was only ever given selective information about the symbolism that Waite wanted within the cards. She was not at as high of a status within the Golden Dawn as Waite, and so most of these symbols she may have not had access to or she didn't fully understand. The canopy of stars represents the man's victory over the temporal plane. It's also indicative of the cosmos aligning correctly to support him in his endeavors. A reminder that wherever he goes in his chariot, the universe will be there to support him. A chariot is a vehicle used in ancient warfare and racing. Notice how the chariot is made of stone as opposed to the regular wooden chariots we are used to seeing. There is no primary source writing to let us know why this decision was made while creating this card. But a lot of readers have gone on to speculate that it is to remind us of the concept of destiny, that we may have free will to decide what pathways we go down, but that some things are grounded and set in stone. One thing that a lot of people miss or overlook is that the cart is not actually attached to any wheels. The 2 wooden posts on the side of the cart may not even be wheels at all, and if they are, they would not be touching the ground to be able to move the cart. Furthermore, if they are wheels and touching the ground, the Sphinx's heads cover up the portion that would be attached to the cart. There are also no reins or a pulling device attached to the Sphinx, suggesting that the cart is not in motion and may have not been created for movement. This may be hinting at that whatever victory you do see will not be as a result of you rushing or powering through something, but rather by exercising inner strength and spiritual will. On the front of the chariot, we see a winged disc or a winged sun. This is an ancient Egyptian symbol associated with divinity and royalty, a further indicator of the charioteer being in control. Under that, we see what is assumed to be a yoni and lingam. Yoni is the Sanskrit word for vagina or womb, and the yoni symbol represents the feminine aspect, the part of us that receives and flows. It is the divine counterpart to the masculine, which we find in the lingam symbol. The masculine principle is about activation and force, so we find a balance between both energies with the unification of these 2 symbols being on the front of the cart. The Sphinx represent duality and opposing forces. Sphinx are a long-standing symbol for mystery and the uncontrollable. In this card, this further suggests that the charioteer is in control of opposing forces. The mystery may be present, but it doesn't define his success during his venture. The only factors that are influencing the man are those that are outside of himself, not within. This means that while he is very connected to and in some ways blessed by the divine, he will only ever understand his journey from a logical standpoint. He does not possess the power and depth that, say, the high priestess holds. Think of the trees mentioned in the Empress card, a clear symbol of something that is grounded here on Earth, but with branches that reach up to the cosmos. Trees are still and do not budge once they start growing. However, they adapt as the seasons change, going through their own transformation and development. Water is a symbol of intuition, the subconscious, and communication. With this water being behind the chariot, it lets us know that he likely had to use those qualities to get to where he is now. He may have had to be more passive and flexible in the past in order to understand and trust in his own will. Also behind the chariot is a city of stone buildings. This lets us know that the charioteer is not far from home. He has not traveled far to get to where he is now. With that being said, one could say that he had to make the hard decision to leave the comfort of his home in order to set out on this journey. So it may not have been a long one yet, but it has been difficult. The chariot is ruled by the element of water. Water symbolizes intuition, emotion, the subconscious, adaptability, and healing. When water-dominant cards come out in a reading, you must be more assertive about voicing your point of view. You need to show greater control of emotions and learn to utilize your intuition. When doing a past, present, future spread and the chariot lands in the past position, it would be pointing to past achievements and success. You may have faced a difficult obstacle and came out the other side smarter and more prepared for future endeavors. Some kind of experience and knowledge was gained, and you are at a better advantage now because of it. It could also point to a moment of chaos in your past, where you really had to zero in on your ability to stay grounded until the storm passed. A moment of dedication was needed in order for you to get something. When the chariot lands in the present position, you would likely be experiencing a major growth moment. Your skills are advancing and you need to dedicate more time to yourself and problem solving. You are much stronger than you may realize and are capable of handling whatever life brings your way. Be mindful of any fears that come up, making you feel like you're running out of time. It's best to slow down, get grounded, and move steadily. There's no need to rush right now. And if the chariot lands in the future position, it would indicate future success. Whatever you're trying to achieve now will end in your favor if you stay persistent and intelligent about the path ahead. There's no room for self-sabotage, so deal with it now so that you don't have to address it during your success. You may enter a phase where things seem to be moving quickly around you, and your ability to stay still will serve you and inspire others to slow down as well. Overall, it will be a great sign of future victory. When doing a single card reading, it really depends on what you're asking about. As a person, the chariot would be determined, stubborn, and likely spiritual. They would have a natural talent when it comes to problem solving, and their loved ones would likely come to them when facing difficulties. They are intense, magnetic, and inspiring, and they have a tendency to overpower conversations or making everything about them. They love to be the center of attention and aren't typically shy. They may have a big ego, making failure an extremely difficult experience beyond just being disappointed. They move steadily and purposefully through life and enjoy the fight to get what they want. As an environment, the chariot would be a highly competitive space. For instance, if coming out in a response to the question, "What will my new school be like?" the chariot would suggest that there will be many highly intelligent individuals who love to challenge each other and compete to get the highest grades or most recognition. Status is of great importance, so whether this is about a home, a school, work, or other environments, you will likely be examined closely to see what you bring to the table. Achievement will be the main focus in this space, so you will likely be challenged but also given the necessary tools to succeed. In some cases, the chariot could also represent a battle zone or even a war museum. As an energy, the chariot would be intense and grounding. It would be pointing towards an inner light or a strength that lies deep within. Self-determination and perseverance would be active, and a need to be mindful about your inner world would be important. The chariot's energy is highly rewarding, meaning that if you're checking in on the energy of a specific situation, you can rest assured that it or you will be successful. It's a victorious feeling that comes with a sense of power and control. Note that it's not the same as an overbearing or overpowering control. This type comes from a place of stillness and intelligence. When the chariot is surrounded by pentacles, it would likely be a sign of financial success or increase. You may overcome an obstacle within your career or within your health, and you will have victory over past difficulties. The universe supports you and your financial desires, and what you're asking for will be delivered. You need to be careful not to be too picky or stubborn about how your manifestations come. You need to stay flexible in the pursuit of any new health improvements or financial gain. It may also be telling you to stay grounded and relaxed, that you need to trust yourself more. It's time to pull from your inner strength to overcome self-sabotage or unhealthy habits. When the Chariot is surrounded by swords, this would indicate a need for clearer, more direct goals. You may need to rethink your plan of action or work on your limiting beliefs. It's possible that you're getting in your head about something, and it would be wise to slow down and find a way to relax so that you don't run out of stamina before you get to where you're going. Depending on the exact cards, it could also be pointing to success within your ideas and ambitions. Your ability to be courageous and mentally fit will serve you greatly and aid you in getting what you want. When the Chariot is surrounded by cups, it would likely be pointing towards a very successful romantic relationship, one that will thrive off of intensity and passion. It could also be giving you insight into how to find success in a current emotional endeavor. You may need to slow down and get grounded so that you can truly feel your emotions. Fear may be a contributing factor to why you don't fully trust yourself and your ability to achieve. Another interpretation could be that you need to add more emotion into the success that you experience. You may be highly competitive and achieving a great deal of your desires, but are you giving yourself permission to feel good about it or to feel worthy? When the Chariot is surrounded by wands, it could indicate a need for action. The type of action would depend on the exact cards, but it would be overall giving you a window into the steps that you need to take in order to succeed in something. It could also be telling you that a path of passion is opening up, and your ability to be creative about this pursuit will be detrimental to the success of it. Another interpretation would be that your spirituality is growing, and because of the work that you've done in regards to your energy and beliefs, you're more connected to the universe and a sense of purpose. If the Chariot comes out reversed, it would indicate a need to reevaluate the path that you're currently on. You may not be successful at the rate or the direction that you're currently going. You may have come to a point where the path that you're on is not aligning with you anymore, and you need to reflect on the choices that you've made to get to this point. Feeling unhappy about the work that you're putting in is not necessary, and there are definitely things that you can do right now to improve your quality of life. It could also indicate that you're not moving with the flow of things, that your stubbornness and ego have gotten the best of you, and if you keep persisting like that, you will either reach burnout or a dead end. There is a blockage, and it needs to be addressed from within before you can proceed in a productive or good-feeling way. So that's the Chariot. I hope that you all enjoyed this class and that it helped you to understand this card a little bit more. Up next, we will be deep diving into the Strength card, so stay tuned for that. If you have any questions or additional interpretations, then please feel free to comment them below. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, do all the things to please the algorithm gods. It really does help me out when you guys do that. And I thank you for watching. I'll see you at the next class. Bye.